If the pose is harder, you might just need some modifications. If you're struggling with Sun Salutation, here are some tips.
Begin with a solid foundation. Check that your feet are parallel to each other. Press into the ball and the heel of the foot. Lift and spread the toes for balance. Imagine a line of energy moving up through the arch all the way up into the navel, sending the tailbone down. Extend through the crown. Lengthen from the sternum across the collarbones towards the heads of the shoulders and extend the arms. As you inhale, raise the arms overhead. Avoid arching the back and dropping the head. Instead, as you raise up, activate the core, knit the ribs down, tailbone down, navel in, shoulders down, away from the ears, gaze gently towards the hands. When going for the forward fold, avoid folding with arms overhead. This loads the low back with extra weight and is not necessary. Instead of rounding the spine as you fold, try bringing the hands through heart center. Keep the muscles of the spine active as you hinge. Keep the spine straight as long as possible before you need to round to accommodate the hamstrings. If the chest is really far away from the thighs like this, when you come into forward fold, bend the knees as much as you need to allow the chest to rest on the thighs. Or better yet, grab a couple blocks and stay in halfway lift with the spine active. As you inhale to halfway lift, avoid rounding the upper back. Instead, bend the knees, lengthen the spine, maybe use the blocks, and continue to strengthen the muscles of the upper back. As you exhale, plant the hands on the mat and step back to plank. Be careful not to drop the hips down and arch the back. Instead, knit the ribs down towards the pelvis. Activate the core. Be sure to have an external rotation in the shoulders so the eye of the elbow points forward, micro bend, shoulders away from the ears. If your chaturanga looks like this, where you drop your belly and then sort of fall onto the mat, try lowering down the knees and lower down the chest and the hips at the same time. Pause when the chest meets the elbows. When this becomes easy, try full chaturanga, always pausing in the hover. Inhale, back bend. Avoid full cobra because it compresses the low back. Instead, keep the hands under the shoulders. Inhale, use the muscles of the spine to lift for baby cobra. If you're ready for upward facing dog, be sure that only the tops of the feet and the hands are touching the mat. The knees and hips are lifted, shoulders away from the ears as you gaze up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Chin comes to chest, belly to spine, then lift the hips into your downward facing dog. Tightness in the hamstrings, hips, and low back can cause the downward dog to look like this. Even if you bend the knees, it's hard to straighten the spine. So try this instead. Walk the feet forward towards the hands, bend the knees, bring the chest towards the thighs, extend through the tailbone. Additionally, be sure the shoulders aren't crowding the ears. Turn the eye of the elbow forward, draw the heads of the shoulders away from the ears. Eventually, the heels will connect and you'll be able to straighten out the legs. That's an indication to again widen the stance until eventually it's the same distance as your plank. Inhale, walk the feet forward to halfway lift. Again, checking that there's no rounding in the spine, but that the muscles of the spine are active. Shoulders back, bend the knees. Exhale, forward fold. Again, finding the modification, bending the knees or coming to halfway lift. As you inhale, to rise up to stand, avoid rounding the spine, but instead use this as an opportunity to activate the muscles of the spine and hinge up, coming to a straight spine as fast as possible, and then inhaling, raising the arms to stand.